make me turn this car around.
Many anti-evolution authors claim that radiocarbon in dinosaur bones shows that the bones can't be millions of years old. That claim is false. Dinosaur bones yield dates of 9,000 to 40,000 years when subjected to radiocarbon dating, but the sediments in which they are entombed yield dates of millions of years when subjected to other dating methods. So are the bones really only thousands of years old? To understand what's going on here, let's first review some radiocarbon basics. Radiocarbon is a radioactive form of carbon, and it's also known as carbon-14. It's produced in the atmosphere when cosmic rays interact with nitrogen-14. After it's produced, it's incorporated into carbon dioxide. Plants accumulate radiocarbon by breathing in this carbon dioxide, and animals accumulate it by eating plants, or by eating animals that have eaten plants. In a live organism, the radiocarbon level is constant. This is because the loss of radiocarbon through radioactive decay is balanced by incoming radiocarbon as the plant breathes or as the animal eats. After a plant or animal dies, its radiocarbon level falls because radiocarbon is being lost through radioactive decay without being replaced during the breathing or eating process. And since this decay occurs at a constant rate, we can date the organism's death by measuring how much radiocarbon is left in its remains. Unfortunately, radiocarbon has a very short half-life, only about 5,700 years, which means that after 50,000 years have passed, there's too little radiocarbon left to date the remains, and if we subject them to radiocarbon dating, the result we get is simply an age of greater than 50,000 years, in other words, too old to date. Remains from recent millennia can yield accurate radiocarbon dates, but remains that are millions of years old cannot, because all of their original radiocarbon has been depleted. Dinosaur bones come from sediments that are millions of years old as determined by methods other than radiocarbon dating. But when we subject them to radiocarbon dating, they yield dates of 9,000 to 40,000 years, which is quite surprising. How is this possible? How can bones that are millions of years old yield radiocarbon dates of mere thousands of years? Shouldn't their radiocarbon be depleted, yielding a radiocarbon age of too old to date? To understand what's going on here, we need to understand that buried bone behaves differently from other materials when it comes to radiocarbon. Its original radiocarbon does decay away, but then the bone accumulates new radiocarbon from its surroundings. After about 10,000 years, the bone has accumulated enough new radiocarbon to yield a falsely young pseudo-date. And incoming radiocarbon keeps this pseudo-date set at a few thousand years through geologic time. To understand how this works, let us consider the materials of which bone is made. If we remove the bone cells, blood vessels, and nerves, what's left is bone matrix. Bone matrix consists of crystals of bone mineral embedded in sheets of the fibrous protein collagen. Bone mineral consists of calcium ions that are bonded to other ions that include phosphate, carbonate, and hydroxide. Bone mineral undergoes recrystallization as groundwater brings in more ions, which replace some of the ions in bone mineral. Some of these incoming ions include chloride, magnesium, uranium, sodium, and fluoride. Some of these incoming ions also include carbonate, some of which has new radiocarbon in it. This new radiocarbon is now part of the bone mineral's crystal structure, and no decontamination technique can remove it. It's as if fossil bone mineral is embarrassed by having become radiocarbon bald, so it builds a radiocarbon toupée by recrystallization in order to seem younger. This radiocarbon toupée lasts through geologic time as the decay of radiocarbon from previous groundwater is balanced by the arrival of new radiocarbon from incoming groundwater. Recrystallization adds a radiocarbon toupée to other carbon-containing minerals, such as the minerals in petrified wood, fossil shells, coal, and diamonds, so that all of these materials accumulate a radiocarbon toupée, which yields a radiocarbon pseudo-date of a few thousand years, even for samples that are millions of years old. Now that we've considered the mineral fraction of bone, let's consider the collagen fraction of bone. Collagen forms crosslinks, which are covalent molecular bonds with other organic molecules, including other collagen strands. After death, collagen decays into pieces, and these pieces continue to form crosslinks with each other. A radiocarbon toupée is generated as groundwater brings in new organic molecules with new radiocarbon, and collagen forms crosslinks with these molecules. No decontamination technique can remove the cross-linked molecules and the new radiocarbon from the collagen. In summary, plant material can yield an accurate radiocarbon date until it's about 50,000 years old. The same is the case for the soft parts of animals, other than collagen. Bone mineral and other carbon-containing minerals can yield an accurate radiocarbon date at first, but after about 10,000 years, the mineral's radiocarbon toupée has become so extensive that it throws off the dating. The same is the case for collagen, but there's a way around this. If the collagen is broken down into its constituent amino acids, and you subject only the amino acid hydroxyproline, abbreviated HYP, to carbon dating, you can circumvent the problem. This is because collagen includes a lot of hydroxyproline, and not much else in nature does, so this method ensures that you're dating only the collagen-specific stuff and not the contaminants that contain new radiocarbon. This is not a decontamination technique, it's a whole other kind of procedure. Note that radiocarbon dating doesn't work on any material after 50,000 years, because by that time, there's not enough of its original radiocarbon left to date. Radiocarbon in dinosaur bones and other mineral samples that are millions of years old does not show that these items are young. The radiocarbon in these samples is the radiocarbon toupée, not the original radiocarbon, so it's pointless to subject it to the procedures of radiocarbon dating.
Now go get me some mashed potatoes and a vampire bat.
I don't need no face.